thought I'd share something which really spoke to me a few days ago, which was just all about that important question about where we are, where we're focusing, where we're looking at the moment. In a time when we're still facing confinement, and it seems to be going on and on and on. Whether that is just lockdown and whether that is other circumstances that we're facing. And I saw something really interesting in Genesis 8. I just felt the Lord was really kind of speaking to me about where my focus was. And it was the story of where Noah's has been in the ark for some time. And just after the tops of the mountains become visible, he sends out some messengers. And I never noticed before, but he actually sends out two different types of bird. And the first bird he sends out is a raven, and then the second bird he sends out is a dove. And it's only really the dove that we ever hear about in connection with Noah, I suppose, in the media. It's become part of popular culture, hasn't it? I typed out dove in my iPhone the other day, and it was going to replace it with the icon of a dove with an olive branch in its mouth. But actually, there's these two birds, and as I dug into it, what was really interesting was that there were two types of birds. One was a raven, which is a carrion bird, and one is a dove, which is not. Doves feed on vegetation, and so why would Noah send out a raven first? And I think what was really interesting for me was that a raven would seek out carrion. And so what would that raven find at that time? It would only go and look for things which are dead, things which were really about the judgment that had happened, the things which had taken place, that he'd seen, that, God's judgment on the earth. So that raven was going to bring him only a message which was going to be about the things that had happened, the tough stuff that, that it was kind of a backwards-looking messenger. It was only going to bring in its beak a bone. And it kind of felt like, that first messenger, Noah was still in a kind of confinement mentality. It was still, focusing on, where he was. He wasn't looking forward. But then he sent out a dove. And the dove is a bird that goes and looks for new life, for new vegetation. And it's like the messenger that he sent out then was a different one. It was a messenger which was, really focusing on the things which were beyond the place of confinement. His focus was going forwards when he sent out the dove, instead of backwards to the judgment. And I think, he sent it out 3 times. He didn't send out the raven 3 times. He sent out the dove 3 times. And even though the first time the dove went out, it didn't come back with anything, there was I think there was like a hope in his heart. There was because his focus was beyond. He was looking forward to a promise of new things beyond the current season that he was in, the current confinement that he was in. And he was sending out this dove as a kind of statement of faith, almost like a declaration of faith, that there's something beyond this. There's something that God is going to open up, a new world, a new life, a new destiny that is beyond the current confinement. And so I think that sustained him, that he sent out the dove a second time. And the second time the dove came back with the olive branch in its beak. And then the third time the dove didn't come back, and he knew that the dove had entered into a new time where it had found dry ground. And it was all pulling him forwards out of the current season. And just not like the raven at all, where it was only going to bring a message which was a message which was about now and the difficulty, and it was going to focus him down on the earthly reality of what he could see with his eyes and the destruction that had come. So and I felt that for me, that was what God was saying, was I need to be sending out doves. I need to be sending out not ravens, with the things that I'm focusing on, the things that I'm looking towards. Am I looking backwards or am I looking forwards? And so that was, I felt, kind of just a really simple but a really quite unexpected thing that I saw in that passage. And I hope that as you kind of think about that yourself, that it's an encouragement to you, because, now that dove has become synonymous with the Holy Spirit, and the prophetic voice and power of the Holy Spirit, that's all about new things and healing and all those good things, and we don't talk about the raven at all. So yeah.